the first speaker for today's session is Jyoti Shah. Jyoti is an AVP with a big European bank. She's a seasoned test professional who brings on table multiple skills. She has worked. She has worked in testing, automation, design frameworks, Agile, and she has good knowledge on diverse range of topics like Java, Selenium, Rest Assured, Karate, Postman, Cucumber, BDD, TDD. A lot of topics she's aware of. She is expert in. So without further ado, let me call Jyoti on stage. So hi Jyoti, you're on stage now. Can you unmute yourself and switch on your video?
Hey, hi. Thanks, Ashutosh. Thanks for wonderful introduction.
Okay. So the stage is yours now, Jyoti. I'll buzz off from here.
Okay. Hey, good morning, everyone. I need not introduce myself as Ashutosh has already given a wonderful introduction. We can quickly get over to agenda of the day. The topic which I have selected is a topic which is really crucial. And again, this is a topic which is very less spoken about. While I was going through the material for this topic, what I saw is internet is not having too much on the topic which we are going to speak about. So, if you look at the agenda, we will just have a walkthrough of what framework is, which you all know. But again, we will just touch back the basics. We will also look at the real life scenarios in form of case studies. So I'll not spend much time on case studies, rather few minutes on it, and then we can actually move towards the topic of the day, which is nothing but the central framework, like why, what, and how. All those things is what I will try to cover in a small whatever the time is allocated to me. Let me start with the caution that this particular topic is a very huge topic in itself. But again, here the main focus of today's talk would be that getting the awareness of this particular or what you can say the concept, like if we say what are we doing here, so that is the most important thing. And there are few more tips and suggestions which I would be sharing in form of demo, like and there is something hidden. Let me keep this part at the end itself, but again, let us get started. So what is framework? Any answers? Like I would actually like to keep this as an interactive rather than what you can say monologue. So Ashutosh, I would actually encourage you to unmute if someone really wants to speak here. So, are there any hands up? Let me know if someone really wants to take this up. This is one of my favorite questions. Like when I interview people, what I do is framework is one of the topic when I'm going to ask one question at least. I want to know that whosoever I'm interviewing has detailed understanding of what framework he is working upon. That makes me confident about the person who under consideration. So again, going back to our topic, framework is nothing but a set of guidelines. Okay, let us stick only to the set of guidelines. Let us forget creating, testing, design, test cases. Let us forget it. Set of guidelines or set of rules or best practices. Why we are going to use it? To use resources more efficiently, to avoid duplicates is what I mean to say when we really want to use resources more efficiently. Now, all of you know that there are certain standard set of frameworks which we have been introduced through. So basically, data driven, keyword driven, and hybrid are the three main categories of framework which we are quite used to. Now, out of this data driven and keyword driven, what we do is we tend to work more on the hybrid ones, and we say, okay, like during the introduction of the framework, we say blah, whatever the structure is. And most of the time, what I see is we tend to put everything in one place only. So when I say everything, so all the libraries which you have, those are placed in one location in itself. Now, let us move ahead with this question. Let us take the case study, like why this topic under consideration is really important. Now, here what we see is Sandy is a QA manager. He is managing 4 projects, including web and API automation. A new client comes in. Now, let us say that this Sandy is from a service based organization like Wipro, Infi, TCS, where you have one particular manager managing multiple projects. So, similarly, is the scenario with Sandy here. Your client has approached him with an e-commerce project for automation. Now, the scope, if you see, the scope is like everything. It's e-commerce, of course, the front end, the back end, the mobile, APIs, everything is really crucial. So, as a part, what does Sandy do is he gets in touch with his team. He starts working on the POC. But natural, what Sandy is going to do? He's going to go to the team and he's going to ask them to create a POC so that they should be able to showcase the capability. This is something which we actually do. This is what I used to do earlier, few years back. Now, the next part, what we see is Sandy finds out that each of the 4 projects are using different. Now, here, let me set some context. He gets in touch with his team, and all these 3, they're using different libraries. Keep this in mind. There are different libraries they are going to consume. What is the problem here? Can you like can you share your thoughts?
If somebody
We
wants
went
to
through this
share,
case.
yeah, yeah, please go ahead.
Any
Please go ahead,
any
Jyoti. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I really wanted to say is, while we went through this Sandy's case, what is the main problem you see? Each project. Perfect. Very nice, Abhishek. Any more? So when we say that each project has different framework, it means a time. And time is nothing but money. So cost involved into it. Any more idea? What can be the problem here? Maintenance, updates, backward. Perfect, Rahul. Very nice. Code integration, reusability. Good. Good, Jay. Nice. Perfect. So whatever collaboration, good point. Good, good. Yes. Support to the different versions. Very good. So you already know the problem. While we went through this case study, you already know what the problem here is. With all the problems, let us move to now another case. Here we see the first case study was from the project manager's view, or someone, anyone, not only the QA manager, it can be an architect, any senior person, a lead, whosoever is involved in face to face direct collaboration with the client. That would be the scenario one, or the case number one. Let us move now. Let us turn the table and see that Nandita, like if I join a new organization, similarly it goes with Nandita. She joins a new organization. She previously worked on Selenium and Java. Now, in the new organization, Nandita is supposed to work on Selenium with Python combination. Full stop. We know we should just try to identify a problem. Yeah. Another is Rahul. Now Rahul is already working in any organization, you can say, but he has his project changed, so it means the previous project is completed. He's moving out from first project to next project. Now the new project says that, okay, Rahul, you're supposed to work on Karate framework for API. But again, Rahul is thinking that, okay, I have experience of rest assured with Java, then let me see what Karate is. So this is what we actually experience. These are the real scenarios which actually, like, each one of us may have faced one or the other day. Even I faced such a scenario in my experience. Let us try to find what is the main issue with this two. The way we found out for the first one, what challenges Rahul and Nandita are going to face. Any thoughts? No answer is right and wrong. Whatever you feel. Learning curve. Can we think about it? Right? Perfect. Learning new language. Learning curve. Right? Anything else? Any other thought? Knowledge sharing. uh, right? Pace of learning. Okay. Transition required. Okay. So when we say transition required, again, here it means time, and time is money. Good, good. Knowledge transfer. Right. Exactly. Rahul needs to set a framework. You are right, right. Exactly. Help and support. Good. With these two case studies, we know there are problem on both these sides. If we really want to start from the scratch, or if we are starting something in the middle, both the ways, there is certain issue. So, like, what we are trying to say is, let us try to solve this problem. And how we are going to solve this problem, let us have a look into it. Uh, so here, the concept what I'm trying to name is the central framework. The idea is, let us keep everything in a central location. Okay, and we will consume whatever we have created in multiple projects which we are going to work. What are we going to achieve with this? We are going to achieve standardization within our project, if it is the project, or at the org level, the same, the standardization throughout the org. Version management and control will be there. There will be uniformity, lesser learning curve, more effectiveness. So there are n number of benefits which I myself personally have experienced during whatever, like, three organizations which the last three organizations which I worked, I had came across this similar concept. So if we look at the flow here, the flow is pretty simple. We say that there is let us create something, a central library. Let's not say it as framework. It's a central library. And what we are saying, that let us have all the APIs or the libraries located there. So we are saying for front end, the back end. So for front end, Selenium, if you're going for open source, a rest assured, APM, database, data utils, different plugins. The list is actually endless. Like, you can do AI integration, cloud integration, everything. You do it once and then consume it. Reap the benefits of whatever you have invested, the so-called central or the core framework. This is the main idea. Now, how about consuming it? In a real life project, what we are going to do is, we are going to create the jar of all these libraries. Now, keep in mind, we are going to create individual jars. Okay, and like, there will be certain part which will be lateral, common to everything. But again, the main front end, back end, mobile or databases are going to have separate repositories for are going to have separate jars for themselves. We're going to create these separate jars using any pipeline tool like Jenkins or TeamCity or whatever you're going to use. I'm going to share how you should be able to create uh, a jar out of this framework also. Next is deploy the jar. The jar should always be deployed, like, at an org level using a Nexus or JFrog artifact or whatever it is. And finally, I have many libraries ready with me. There are many capabilities ready with me. I'm going to consume it. So whatever limitations which we saw in case one, like Sandy was looking out for front end, back end, mobile, and databases. It is already available. If it is already available, he will not spend time on POC. He will not spend time on creating framework. He will directly showcase the POs in form of actual working code. So the major part in itself is reduced, and you will see high cost saving here. Let me, in lieu of time, let us have a walkthrough of whatever concepts I told you right now. Mm, So I have just kept a rough pad for me. These are the main topics which we have already covered. So I'm removing this. We will go through few concepts from Maven side, and we will see how a jar is created, and then the final walkthrough. So the first thing, whatever we are speaking about, the central framework, the core framework, what idea is what we are coming up with is before you right now. If you see here, this particular project, the setting is created out of Maven multi-module project. Now, this is a very old concept which Maven is providing, very widely used in development, where we have web APIs, jar, war, and other EJBs thing. So they have different modules for it. So here we are suggesting that let us use a similar approach for ourselves also. Let me walk you through the POM so that you can get the actual crux of what I'm speaking. How this is multi-module. We have a main pom.xml, main pom.xml or the parent pom.xml. The artifact ID of the main pom.xml is what you would be initially specifying. The packaging type for the main pom.xml is always going to be pom. And if you see, the highlighted parts is nothing but the modules which we have specified. Again, if we go in the Maven section, we can build, compile, and run individual modules. Okay, so the main uh, parent is also available, and again, for all the different modules, we have it. One thing which we have to notice is whatever I'm going to specify in the parent is always going to be available to the child. But each child, so I'm just taking a random example. The most simplest form, if you see, is just okay. One more thing which I just forgot is in this particular core framework, which we are seeing right now, this is combining the approach of TDD and BDD. So there will be a few projects which would be traditionally based out of BDD, what you can say, approach, and few may want to really go for the TDD approach. So both the flavors are available as far as the front end part is concerned. You can add similar cases for others as well, like rest assured, which will be the TDD part. If you really want to have APIs with the BDD, you can integrate Karate here. Database, you can integrate n number of databases by writing a simple code. So that is also available. The APM part, if you look, this part is nothing but the skeleton or a set of guidelines which we are really going to use. Now coming back, each of this child project is have their individual own pom.xml. If you see here, whatever it is, everyone is going to have. Now here what we do is in child pom.xml, whatever I am going to need in my module under consideration, I'm going to add only those dependencies. For example, and this is the front end part. So I'm going to use Selenium, Java, and few other things which I really want to use. I'm not crowding it too much. And if you see, I'm consuming one of the module here. So here, if you see the sorry, not this one. Support module Selenium is what I'm also using in one of the module here. So basically what I'm trying to do is we are trying to increase the reusability of code. How we will look more into it. Mm. Any questions till this part? Maven multi-module part, the parent and the child concept, so that we can go ahead. Are we good? It is clear. Perfect. Let us move ahead. The next part, which I said is, so multi-module and this. Okay. Transitive dependency, we will come in a moment once we create a jar. Here, coming back to our main architecture, simple architecture, we said that, okay, the framework is ready and done. We will
Excuse me,
create
Jyoti.
a jar.
Excuse me,
Yes.
Jyoti. I think some people were not able to see the ID earlier. So can you repeat what you said before in brief so that people
From
would couldn't.
from which part
Uh,
or
I'll just check. Uh, some people were seeing the PPT screen only. So
is that so? So
yeah,
which part? Is it this part?
yeah. I just
Multi-module part
asked.
is what?
I just asked. So probably if you can do it in brief, then let's see if
Okay,
that works.
let
POM
me
XML part. So you can share from the POM XML part. From that part onwards, you can share.
okay. So let me summarize whatever we discussed again.
Yeah.
The core framework or the central framework is before you. This idea is consuming Maven multi-module project. So Maven multi-module project is nothing but the concept wherein we have a parent project and we have multiple children to the parent. If you see the SRC folder in the core framework, this belongs to the parent with the name is central framework. If you look here, the artifact ID or the name, this belongs to the central framework. Central framework has its own pom.xml. Each module has its own pom.xml. That makes this setup as a unique setup. How do I identify who is my parent and who are all the childs? Just by looking at the pom.xml, I come to know. So whatever highlighted part is, this is nothing but the childs which I see here. The main artifact ID or whatever I see here is my parent. This is the way I'm going to identify between the parent and the child. The next part is there will be different, like whatever dependencies are available in the parent, all those can be consumed within the child. Those are available for the child. Child can have its own dependencies based upon whatever work we really want to perform in it. For example, Selenium with TestNG will have flavors of Selenium and TestNG. If it is cucumber, Selenium with cucumber flavor, so it will have whatever the cucumber and Selenium Java dependencies. Rest assured will have a rest assured. Database will have the JDBC, and whatever databases you really want to have, those will go here. APM, of course, the mobile part. There are certain parts which we really want to keep as support part. The support part will be the common libraries which we really want to use. If you see, we are showcasing both the TDD approach, with Selenium test engine, which is very common test engine what you can say, test engine Selenium implementation. And the one is the BDD approach, which is Selenium with cucumber flavor. It means like any kind of approach is supported through the core framework along with the backend and whatever. Libraries can span across, like if even if I am adding libraries here, I can consume within my child projects. The example is before you. I'm highlighting a dependency. This dependency is what I'm consuming from Selenium support module Selenium. Okay, the common libraries which I may consume here, but again, I can also consume this within my current project in itself. How to implement this particular is all up to you. Whatever is your requirement, you do with yourself. Like you know your project and organization very well and better. Follow that approach, whether it is language selection, technology selection, or anything. This particular setup is just an awareness, or I'm just trying to give you hints like how you can do it. You can actually skip if you are not very keen into BDD. Just do not implement BDD, or else you're not much keen into TDD approach. Do not implement it. Use whatever is convenient for you. Moving ahead, so we have completed Maven multi-module concept, the parent-child relationship. Next important part is nothing but we should be able to create a jar. So how would I create a jar? There are two steps involved into it. So for each and every module available, including the core framework, okay, if I go and check the resources folder, I have added one folder called as meta INF. And in meta INF, I am having a manifest MF. Let me open this one. Okay. What I have done is in manifest.mf, there are few things which you may need to specify. Specify your main class. Your class path is nothing but the dot. That's it. These three are criteria, main criteria. This is not at all required. But keep in mind, adding manifest.mf is a mandatory thing. After that, very simple command, mvn clean install is what I am going to run. If you see the compiling, the cleaning, compiling, if in case certain repositories are not available, those will be downloaded, the entire project will be compiled. Now, what are we doing? We are trying to see the demo of this part. Whatever I'm showing you in the local right now, the same log, the same command will be triggered through the pipeline also, wherein you will be specify the Bitbucket link or the Git link, and the simple command mvn clean install is going to help you create a jar. Let us check. See, I have success, and I see that my jar should be created. Where are those? Location is available here. Let us go to the one of the location. m2.m2 folder repository. Okay, let us follow the path. I'm in M2 folder. From M2 folder, I went to repository. This is com. Okay, then com dot central. Now see how I'm going. I'm using my artifact ID path com dot central. Okay, this is the path I'm going. Then the framework com central framework. In the framework, I should see all this. So What I see, the folders are nothing but the artifact ID which we have specified. Okay. Mm, let us go here. This is your version. Okay. Individually, now we are in Selenium. This one. Here I specified version as this. Okay. So that version is what I see here. My jar is available here. Any questions till this part? Let us take a pause.
I think Shiva has a question. Shiva, can you put your question in the Q&A tab, or do you want to come on stage to ask? What is one
Perfect.
question? Can you share the GitHub link of the structure after the possibly
You
the
can just Google Jyoti Shah GitHub. You should be able to find it. I have not pushed the code. Okay. Uh, I'll be pushing it in some time, maybe after
okay,
this session.
got it, got it. I
Okay.
think Shiva has a question,
We are
so I think he wants to come on stage. Let me invite him. Hi Shiva, please ask your question.
Uh, uh, Thanks, Abhishek. Jyoti, I have a quick question actually. When you're
hmm
presenting your framework, right, there are two things
hmm
which I thought of asking. Like, you mentioned that it is centralized and you're using a Maven multi-model. First thing that,
hmm
first question is how we create using the Maven, because I see that you already created it and it
hmm
is centralized framework. It's good that you're having the parent and child relationship, keeping in very clear on that. Okay.
All right.
And second thing is that on your slides you mentioned that uh, you're using that's what I understood from the slide. Correct me if I'm wrong. Your site says that Java, jar creation through pipeline. Okay, and but if I'm correct, you have used Maven to create, like, to build your project. Correct?
Right,
Uh,
right. So
right.
the process, wait. One question at a time we will take. First thing, how we will create a Maven multi-module project. It is very simple part. I'll show you at the end if time permits. We have just 15 minutes left. Okay. Another part, this would be the standard process if you want to follow this process in your organization. Okay, in lieu of time, I knew that I will not be able to demonstrate it through pipeline. So what I said is I am demonstrating this through um, what through my local system in itself, because whatever I'm doing in my local, it is the same thing. The command through which you are going to create the jar is the same command which you would be executing on the pipeline, like Jenkins. It is very easy configuration. Even if I say if you want to publish your jar, the steps are very easy. You would be specifying your Bitbucket link. The command will also be very simple, and that's it. The jar will be available for you. And
So
just to integrate, like basically, your DevOps team would help you more. You may not have to do it by yourself. And whatever jar is published through this process which we have created, it will be published in one of the platform named as Nexus, wherein you can find all your repository or artifactory. JFrog provides artifactory where you will see all the repositories available. Okay.
yeah, I'll just try
So
to reiterate. Sorry, Jyoti. I'll try to reiterate my question there again. That
mhm,
when you mentioned in the slide that jar is
mhm,
created, okay, the jar creation through pipeline. Okay, what I'm trying
mhm,
to understand is whatever we have, TeamCity or Jenkins, which TeamCity or the Jenkins what we use for the pipeline, the continuous
mhm,
process of it, right? Uh, uh,
mhm.
Correct me my understanding that the pipelines are, like, is a continuous process of it, like the delivering side of it, right? To do have a continuous integration side of it, right? On the continuous deployment. And I this is the first time I'm listening that the pipeline, the Jenkins, are used to create a jar files. Okay, so is
No,
it
no, no. Jenkins, wait. Jenkins can be used to perform multiple things. It is not always that you have to have a pipeline like the moment you publish the code. So that like you can have multiple rules defined into Jenkins. You can keep the entire control at your end. Okay. So nothing like that. Whatever you feel,
But I'm just
everything
confused.
can be, no,
Yeah.
everything can be tweaked and twisted as per your needs. These are the tools which will cater to our need.
So you
Okay,
mentioned
that
you
is the
so
main.
so you meant to say that the Jenkins you are trying to use here with your framework will be used to create a jar. That's what you meant to say.
Of course, it will be used.
Okay,
Okay.
because I see that you used a Maven to do your build, and that is where the thing is happening here.
In Jenkins, we can execute any command, whether it is Maven or Windows, shell script. Okay, so there is
Yeah,
no restriction there.
I'm I'm
I
I'm,
think
I'm I'm aware
I
of
think
that.
Shiva, I think in the interest of time, we can discuss this offline also because
No
we
problem.
have another session pending. Okay.
Okay,
All
So
thank
yeah,
right.
you.
thank you for your understanding, Shiva, and thank you, Jyoti, for the answers. Thank you.
Yep. Okay. So moving ahead, now what I'm showing is we had created these jars. We saw where it will be located. Okay. Now this part, whatever you see, will be available on your Artifactory. What are you going to do? Now see, there are two approaches which I am going to demonstrate. Let us go with the easier one first. The first easier one is nothing but how I have cut down the entire part of your, what you can say, the framework part. Let us understand this. I'll create any normal project. I have not, this is a normal Maven project. I have not used any archetype to create this project. A simple plain Maven project which will just have only this part when I create my pom.xml. It will not have any dependencies into it. I will add these dependencies. What I'm doing, even when the code is in my local, I'm able to consume it. How am I able to consume it? I'm using the group ID, the artifact ID, and the version. This is what is being referenced through this folder. .m2 folder is going to help me. You may have a different version based upon whatever your Artifactory is going to publish. In case if you're going to do it in a, what you can say, enterprise level setup. Here, I'm consuming just two of the libraries. My project under consideration is Selenium Test NG project. So basically front end with Selenium and Test NG. That's it. My requirement as simple as that. That is why I have just added Selenium Test NG dependency. Another dependency is I may need certain libraries which may help me more. So I'm using support module Selenium. The support module is going to have reusable libraries or wrapper functions or whatever you can say, the UI interactions which we have. If I go in my Maven, in the dependencies section, I just see only two dependencies which are added, nothing more. But if I just expand them, what I see is everything, whatever I specified in my main Selenium test ng pom.xml as well as the central parent pom.xml is available for me here. Isn't it good? Right? Now, the dependencies which we see here, these dependencies are called as transitive dependencies. Those are nothing but the bundle dependencies which will be coming, like whatever your pom.main pom.xml is going to tell. These are bundled and those are available for us. So this is nothing but POM transitive dependency. Looking at the structure, don't you feel that the entire project structure is really simplified for me? What do I have here? I am having only pages and test. I need not worry about the code level or the, what you can say, framework level implementation. How? The WebDriver object or the browser is going to be instantiated in my core framework. That is why we have written certain libraries here. Okay, so we have certain utils, like this is very simple thing which I have created, nothing like it how it should actually be in a large setup. The very simplified part is available before you. I'm having my WebDriver instance initiated, the screenshot thing, many other integrations available here. I also have my base test. With this, what I need to do, like since we are using what you can say Spring, uh, handling property is also very easy. Okay, I can just specify my application URL, and there is one annotation added value. With that, I should be able to consume this application URL, whatever I have specified. For me, the work which is remaining now is just to concentrate on my page objects and the test cases. So basically, my focus is on the delivery part. I need not worry. In really large enterprise level setup, we have a separate framework team where different senior members will be working upon different modules. So it is not that a one person works on everything. It never happens. We have experts within the framework team who will take ownership of certain modules under consideration. If there is any issue, or if you have identified any bug, or if you have any request to add new library or new functionality within the core framework, you can request the same. Having said that, this let me run a very simple what you can say very common Google test. I am not using any fancy things, even if I have for this particular what you can say framework. um, Very simple Google search. We will just see it, if it really works, like what a concept which I have said till now, whether it works or not. The WebDriver manager has instantiated the Chrome, the search is performed, and the test case is executed successfully. Even if I look at this code, I see that there is still scope of improvisation. I can reduce this to significant level. Here, what I'm trying to do is I'm creating uh, the what you can say the page instance, whatever I'm having. What I would say is an improvisation can be done in form of using this annotation which Spring is providing us, the Spring framework which is providing us. Spring is coming from the parent central, which is a central framework, and we can then execute it. In lieu of time, I also want to quickly walk you through the BDD part of it. So, um, even in BDD part, if you see, most of the things have already been cut down. Everything is taken care. If I look at my project structure, there are only few things which I will be concentrating upon. Pages, step definition, and the features. That's it. Data, of course, the way you want to consume your data, whether it would be Excel, JSON, or whatever, like the data tables, you're free to do your choice. Your test case, your choice. We have features. You can have n number of modules into your features, and similarly for the pages, you can have your own pages. If you see here, this is what I also want to introduce, like where are we using the support. If you see, this is coming from the support Selenium. Here certain annotation has been created. So if I look from the clean code thing, here you should be able to see uh, I'm using an annotation for any page. This annotation will go. Another part will be, it will be extending the base page. If I'm consuming any of the classes, I'm asking like I'm using this auto wired what you can say annotation, which is again coming from the Spring. This is not custom annotation. Page is a custom annotation which I have written here in while we are using auto wired, we are telling to Spring that, hey Spring, you take care of object creation, that is equal to new whatever sentence which I changed in this particular what you can say setup. All this thing you take care. I don't want to take the headache of object rendering and everything. You take care of it. I will just say that which class I want the object. That's it. This is what I'm going to specify. The code is very less. Um, Again, step definition, simple steps. I know that this is a very, what you can say, layman test case, but you may have your steps. One more custom annotation. This is again coming from support Selenium. What I'm saying is lazy auto add. If I go into the implementation of this annotation, this is actually using an auto while. That is, Spring, you take care of object rendering. But again, initiate or create the object of this particular, what you can say, class only when it is required. If I'm just specifying auto wired, the object will always be available. Here, what I'm trying to do is by adding lazy, I'm saying rest on. I don't need you right now because we may have n number of hundreds of pages. Then I'm saying that, okay, you rest for a while. Let me call you only when you are required. So you be lazy. And again, similarly, your properties will be coming or reading through this application.properties. So this is a setup which we have for Cucumber, wherein we are just concentrating on the pages definition and the features.